Welcome to Mrs. True Crime, and Happy Black History Month. Today's video is an in-depth look into the murder of Lexington, Kentucky's first black female firefighter, Brenda Cowan. It's a tale of conspiracy and legacy. If you're triggered by anything dealing with death, feel free to click off this video. Perhaps check out my gaming channel, Retell Me Games, for some lighthearted content. If not, I'm Nicole. Let's get started. At the end of World War II, a UFO crash-landed near the Russian border. The aliens possessed the upper echelon of our administration. There's only 735 true humans left in Lexington, Kentucky, less than 3 million left worldwide. 45-year-old Patrick Hutchinson told a Lexington Herald-Leader reporter. He went on to say that a cobra came up to me on the farm and gave me a stick and said, "God told me to give this to you." I control the tribe of the stick, about 250 panther lions, thousands of cobras. But Hutchinson didn't have a stick, nor did he have 250 panther lions or thousands of cobras. Instead, he had an arsenal of weapons and targets in his sight, one of the targets being Brenda Cowan. Brenda Cowan was born May 9, 1963, in Sturgis, Kentucky, to Ella Dawson and Reverend Tab Cowan Sr. She was the fifth of 6 children. Brenda was remarkably kind and giving. She was humble, but no one would blame her for gloating a bit. She played basketball in high school, even earning the title MVP for 1979 and 1981. She ran track and also played baseball. She graduated from Union County High School and moved to Lexington, while her brother, Fred Cowan, was making waves as a member of the University of Kentucky's national championship basketball team. Brenda was making a splash of her own, landing a job as a firefighter and later EMT in 1992. Brenda is the first black female firefighter in Lexington, Kentucky, but Brenda just wanted to be considered one of the guys, growing and raising rank, and she was doing just that. After 12 years served, she was promoted to lieutenant January 12, 2004, but she barely had a month to enjoy her new position. At around 3:30 p.m. on February 13, 2004, a 911 call was made to 8645 Adams Lane. There was only one occupant inside, Patrick Hutchinson. His wife, 60-year-old Elizabeth Fontaine Hutchinson, was in the front yard, motionless. The call described hearing gunshots. Neighbor Richard Parson stated that Hutchinson was an unwell individual who believed people were clones. Briefly, they spoke after the shots began, in which Hutchinson said, "I just blown my wife's brains out." Later, when asked why he shot his wife, Hutchinson would say, "She kept fussing at me. I couldn't take it anymore. She's been nagging for years." Right after, they replaced her with a clone. They killed my wife, a good woman, and replaced her with a clone. Perhaps to Hutchinson, his wife was a clone. Then again, maybe he wasn't keen on rejection. After 13 years of marriage, Elizabeth was leaving him. Maybe she was walking away from the home angrily, but satisfied with her decision when her husband shot her. Or maybe she was going to get the mail. The circumstances are unclear, though some reports state that Fontaine was shot and remained motionless inside the house. Wherever her body lay, Station 18 was going to try and save her. Brenda Cowan led the charge of EMTs with 6 firefighters surveying the scene. As Brenda, Jim Sanford, and Mike Soder walked towards the home, shots rang out. Brenda and Jim had been hit, and Mike had suffered a sprain. Brenda and company tried to take cover. Brenda ended up near a tree as more shots continued to rain down. She and the rest of her wounded comrades were transported to a local hospital. Sanford and Soder would survive their injuries. Brenda would not. The standoff with Patrick Hutchinson lasted 6 hours. Police were said to have used 15 rounds of tear gas. At one point, Hutchinson shot out the window of a police cruiser. At approximately 10 p.m., Patrick surrendered. He was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. 2 counts of attempted murder, and 1 count of wanton endangerment. He pled not guilty. But his mental competency proved a strain on the case. He began treatment at Central State Hospital in Louisville for paranoid schizophrenia. In 2009, he was offered a plea deal. He would receive 25 years in exchange for a guilty but mentally ill verdict. His lawyer accepted. He received 25 years for the murder of Brenda Cowan, 20 years for the murder of Elizabeth Fontaine Hutchinson, 10 years for the shooting of Jim Sanford, and 10 years for shooting at a police officer. He has to serve 201 divided by 2 years, or 85% of his sentence. They will run concurrently. He will be eligible for parole in 2028. Brenda Cowan was buried the following week in New Salem Baptist Cemetery in Union County, Kentucky. She was awarded the Medal of Valor by the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters. There was a last call for her over the fire department's radio system. Helicopters flew over the church, and a 21-gun salute followed. Fire trucks took part in the proceedings. Hundreds were in attendance. Mayor Teresa Isaac declared the day Red Ribbon Day, but a day of honor wasn't enough for the firefighters and friends of Brenda. Soon after her death, the Brenda D. Cowan Coalition was created. The nonprofit organization wanted to assist female survivors of domestic violence and their children and families. They also had a learning center and daycare, as well as helping the homeless. And for a decade, they did. The organization took out loans in order to provide and care for the families, but there was one family they were leaving in the background. The Cowan family was left out of management details and tried and failed to join the organization's board. To make matters worse, employees were receiving bounced checks and had to move from a location because of code violations. The family fought to get the rights of Brenda's name back, but it went unheard until April 2014. The organization was forced to close their doors after being sued for over $300,000 by a traditional bank for unpaid mortgage payments. They signed a contract in 2011 to repay $250,000 by March 16, 2016, and another contract in 2012 for $75,297 to be paid by 2017. It is unknown if they followed through on this. The house where Brenda was killed was sold for auction in late 2004 for $103,950. New owner G.M. Lynchman stated that he would allow anyone involved in the massacre to hold a memorial if they desired. The home was originally in Fontaine's name, but she willed it to her daughters, Kira Van Houten Gurney and Dawn Fitzpatrick. Dawn said she was glad someone else could enjoy it and that it was time for her to move on. And moving on, legislation decided to take action surrounding Brenda's death. In 2005, the Brenda D. Cowan Act was passed, which stated that EMTs, rescue squad, and firefighters who are assaulted or someone attempts to assault during course of performing first official duties is a Class D felony, punishable by 1 to 5 years in prison. The first woman firefighter was also African American. Molly Williams worked in New York City under enslavement at the Oceanus Company No. 11 in the 1800s. The next set of women wouldn't appear for another 164 years. According to Data USA, women make up 51% of the firefighters' workforce, and blacks only make up 8.4%. Representation matters. And I personally think it would be kind of cool to see a black woman kicking butt and putting out fires. Brenda Cowan did it for 12 years, and the impact she left in her wake is something to never forget. I'm Mrs. True Crime, and remember to be kind, be loud, be aware. For more information about Brenda Cowan, why not check out some of these awesome links? And if you like what you saw and heard today, why not drop a like and a comment? Maybe subscribe while you're here. I make new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and you don't want to miss what's in store.